The Jarl has appointed me to be your housecarl. It's an honor to serve you. Lead the way. Still here. Of course, my Thane. Before I pledged my sword to Jarl Balgruuf and you, I led the life of a traveling mercenary, selling my combat skills for gold. Well, I knew how to use my sword, so I might as well capitalize on that. But I could only took simple escort jobs, since the most exciting tasks were all taken by the companions. Should have done my market researches. Until I met this one client, who showed me a whole different world. He was a priest of Mara looking for a bodyguard to escort him to Dawnstar. Said something about finishing what he started. At first I thought it was just another boring escort job, but things quickly took an intriguing turn. The first night of our trip, I had a nightmare so vividly horrendous, yet I couldn't wake up from it. Then this priest, Erendur, bestowed Mara's blessings upon me. Although the nightmare persisted, it was somewhat diminished. It was then I learned his true mission. He was on a quest to free Dawnstar from a similar nightmare curse. The next few nights I tried my darndest not to fall asleep. So I asked him to tell me jokes, stories, basically anything to keep me awake. And you know what he told me instead? Mara's doctrines. How she loves us and we ought to love our neighbors. No, it actually got me interested in Mara and the Divines. You see, it's not just about your message, but also the way you convey it. Dare I say, Erendur was quite the effective preacher. Not really. He only required me to escort him to Dawnstar, where he'd handle the rest. Although I would have loved to learn more about Mara from him if we had more time. Yeah. Before I met Erendur, Mara was just another figure in the temples to me. Now I realize she's the loving mother of us all. Of course. I don't really know much about it. Talos, Thalmor, emperors and whatnot. But whichever side you choose, I'm sure you have your reason. As your housecarl, my job is to fight alongside you, not question why you're fighting. I decided to set my mercenary work aside and embark on a pilgrimage to Riften. Not that there were many jobs available to begin with, anyway. I traveled for days until I finally reached the city of Mara, a den of crime, skooma, and paranoia. The temple itself was truly a spiritual experience. I felt I could connect with Mara there. Sadly, it doesn't see many visitors. Perhaps if more people started going there, Riften would become a more lovely place. Or maybe that priest Maramal should just take a few notes from his colleague Erendur on preaching. That would be an understatement. The truth is, I couldn't find any trace of Mara outside her temple. There was this woman who preached about love to me, and I thought I had finally found someone I could connect with. But I quickly realized that she practiced a different kind of love, which Mara would frown upon. What a horrible pilgrimage. I took a carriage back to Whiterun, too worn out from days of walking. But on the carriage, I reflected on my journey. Why did Mara guide me to her city, only to show the worst of it? Maybe she wanted me to start looking after my own people. Maybe I can make Whiterun a better place so that it won't become the next Riften. So, once I was back to Whiterun, I pledged my service to the Jarl, a man who I deemed honorable and just. Of course. The companions offer combat trainings to their own. Maybe you can join them and get better at fighting. Just don't deal me in. I can't bear the thought of drinking 10 bottles of mead every night. At least that's what I heard they do. When news of Helgen's dragon attack reached us, housecarl Irilith realized she would have to defend the city from those flying beasts. But if she were to do so, the Jarl would be left unprotected, which is why they needed a, let's say, temporary housecarl. Correct. I was, after all, the one fighter with the most extensive experience as a bodyguard. So it came full circle again. I was back into the boots of a bodyguard, following the Jarl around for meetings and feasts, and just stand watching. Although the pay surely was more generous when compared to escorting caravans or priests. He only gives his friends the best. Of course. Lead on.
I'm still here. That depends on who you're asking about. That sorry excuse of a housecarl? Trust me, my patron. You'll do better if you discard her right away. She believes she's better than the rest of us, believing in the divines and fighting for goodness. But deep down, she's as dirty as I am. Of course, Sellsward and Patron, housecarl and Thane, I am clear about my part, provided she's clear about hers. Lead on, and I shall follow.
Before I became your housecarl, I never realized being a bodyguard could also be so fascinating. Is everything all right?
Let's find us more action.